Yo, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to this course. So today we're going to be talking about AppShell and how to use it. And by the end of the tutorial, we're going to have built something like this. It's a basic AppShell where we're going to have two different components where we can go between the two on click. And we have this light mode, dark mode button. It's not going to work this tutorial, but we will talk about that in the next one. And then it is also responsive. So if I were to make this really small, I can navigate through it just perfectly fine, like so. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so as always, we're going to quickly talk about the documentation and then we're going to get our hands dirty with this component. So the link to this component is in the description down below. You can go ahead and click on it and just follow along. So basically, AppShell, it allows us to be able to create a sort of layout for our application and assign positions to where everything is going to be so the user can easily navigate through our app. Now with AppShell, it gives you the possibility to easily allow the user to navigate between sections of the actual application. So in this example that Mantine has provided, they have a simple header, the main content of the application, and a navbar. Now the wonderful thing about this is that it's easily responsive, so at a certain breakpoint, it will collapse the navbar and then turn into a hamburger icon, and you can go ahead and click on it. And then if you want to just go ahead and copy and paste the code as well, you can do that. Do this as well. Alrighty, so the next thing that we're going to be talking about is the usage of AppShell. Now the usage of AppShell is pretty simple. All you're going to do is import the following components. So you're going to be using the hook called useDisclosure and the components called AppShell and Burger. AppShell is just the AppShell itself, and Burger is the burger icon that you click on it and then it opens and closes it. So the usage of this is that you import AppShell, and after that you can give it three sections. So you have the header, the navbar, the main. It's not stated here, but you also have something called the footer as well. And then after that, here's the configuration. So it accepts header, footer, navbar, and aside props. And to configure the corresponding sections, it is required to set these props if you want to use corresponding components. For example, if I want to use the AppShell.header, we need to set header prop in the AppShell component. And here is the actual properties configuration object. So I'm going to try to quickly go through all this stuff. So inside of this configuration object, we have the width, the responsive breakpoints, and whether it's collapsed or not. And then after that, we have the layup prop. You have two options, alt or default. Alt makes the navbar and aside height equal to the viewport height, and default adjusts the height based on the header and footer. And then after that, we just have the example of the height configuration. So the height property in the header and footer configuration objects works as the following way. If you pass a number, the value will be converted into a rem and used as the height and all the height at all viewport sizes. To change the height based on the viewport width, you can use the object with breakpoints as keys and its height as values. So here's the example. So we have the AppShell header right here and the header height that we can specify for the header. And then after that, we have the width configuration. It's similar to the height configuration, but it's for the width of the navbar and the side. And then after that, we have the padding prop. It basically controls the padding of the AppShell.main. It's important because it also is used to offset other components like the header and the navbar as well. And then after that, we have the header offset configuration. Basically, it explains how to set the collapsed state of the navbar and the side depending on the viewport's width. And then the final two things we'll talk about is the z-index prop. This is basically the prop that allows you to control the stacking order of the AppShell components. By default, it's set to 200. In this case, that they're setting it to 100. And then after that, we're going to talk about is the disable prop. So this allows us to be able to disable all sections except for the main AppShell section. It's useful for certain pages where you don't want the shell to appear. So that's pretty much the documentation. And then if we go to the very top, we have the props right here. So we can access all these props and give it all the according styles to it. And then after that, we also have the styles API. So if you want to target a certain section using styles, CSS, or I think color scheme is what they have, we can select from these static selectors. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and actually work with this component. Okie dokie. So I have opened up our VS Code project that I've been working on. And the first thing that I did, that we need to do, is we need to install something called React Icons using npmi React Icons. This is going to be responsible for displaying the moon and sun icons for our React app. So going back into the code, the first thing that we're going to be doing is we need to import a couple of things. So what we're going to do is import React from React, and we'll do import our first hook ever, use disclosure from Mantine hooks. And then after that, we're going to import a couple more things. So I'm going to import flex, AppShell, burger, button, and paper from, you probably guessed it, Mantine, at Mantine /core, like so. And then after that, we're going to import our React icons. So we're going to have two icons, import FA sun and FA moon. Now we're not going to be using these yet, but we're going to import them for the next video's tutorial. We're going to import them from React icons, and then icons slash. So all these different icons we have available to us, but we're going to access the FA like so. And then finally, we'll just add the CSS file as well. So I'll do import dot slash app.css like so, and go ahead and save it. Alrighty, so after we've imported that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to then create two example components for now. What I'll do is I am going to create a new folder in the source folder, call it components, and then we're going to create two files. So I'll call the first one, let's call it buttons.tsx, and then the next one we'll just call it text.tsx for now. And then just so we have some content, I'm just going to go and copy this and paste it into both of them like so. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. Actually, let's get rid of all of this. Let's get rid of these, and we'll get rid of that as well. And then we have button right here. We'll just call this text component. And then I'm gonna change the name of this to be text component. Text component. Save it. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that as well. Save that, copy this, and then paste it into here. I'm going to get rid of the name here and call this to be button component. Save it. And now we're going to have two different components that we can work with. So what I will do is, right here, I'll just do const component 1, just so we have as an example, is equal to React FC. And if you were guessing why I know all this stuff off the top of my head, I don't actually have the script written down right next to me. And then we're just going to do a simple div that will be button. Oops. Let's do this. Let's do button component. And then after that, we'll do const component2. Same thing, react.fc. We're setting the types here is equal to, let's do text component like so. There we go. And so then after that, what we're going to do is we are going to create two hooks, two variables using hooks. So we're going to do const opened and curly braces toggle is equal to use disclosure from Mantine hooks, and then const current component, and then set current component is equal to react.use state, which is going to be a string for now, and we'll just do component1, which is going to be our button component right here. Alrighty, so after that, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this div right here, this section, and we're going to create our AppShell component. So I'm going to do import AppShell, and then inside of the first tag right here, I'm going to add some props. So I'll do header is equal to height at 60, and then navbar, we're going to give it width to be 300. Breakpoint, we're going to set that to be SM, so when the screen size is set at SM, it'll collapse at that point, displaying our hamburger icon. And then we'll do collapsed, and we'll do mobile not opened. Oops, not opened, like so. And then just so we have a little bit of padding, so it's not all squished, we'll just do padding is equal to MD. And so all of our actual components are going to go inside of here. So like our header, footer, main, and all that sort of stuff. So for our header, what we're going to do is we're going to import AppShell dot header, and then within it we're going to do a flex that comes straight out of Mantine. This flex is going to have a couple of props. So first prop is going to be justify. We're going to give it justification of space between, and then we'll do align to be center. There we go. And then I'm just going to double check the styles are proper. So then we're going to do style is equal to padding at 10 pixels by 20 pixels. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to take all the content within the actual navbar, space it out, and then it's going to apply a little bit of padding so it's not all squished to the side and the top. This is going to move it a little bit. It's going to move it to the middle of the actual navbar, and this is going to move it away from the sides of the navbar. And then after that, we're going to give it the 3 different components. So I'm going to give it a tag called burger with a self-closing brace, like so. We're going to give it a parameter of opened, and then it's going to be listening to opened, so this right here. And then after that, we're going to do on click. We want to give it the prop of toggle, so it's going to toggle between true and false. And then after that, we're going to do hidden from small, and then we're going to give it a size of, let's say, small. That should be good. And then after that, we're going to just do a simple div just for the title of our web app. Call it quirky YouTube. Let's do quirky Mantine tutorials. And I actually copied a emoji that I just want to paste here. Just copied a couple of times. There we go. All right. Next, we're going to give it a button. This is going to be our light mode, dark mode button. So it's going to be a prop size of small, and then variant, variant to be link. And then we'll just give it FA sun initially, FA moon, sorry. FA moon initially, because it's going to be in dark mode. And I forgot to set it to be dark mode too. So instead of the index.tsx file, what we're going to do is we're just going to give it a prop of default color scheme is equal to dark, which is going to by default set everything to dark. Cool. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to be adding the main content. So right underneath, I'm going to actually add AppShell dot navbar. I keep calling it appbar for some reason. And this out here is going to take a couple of props. I'm going to give it P, which is equal to MD, and then style. Give it a gap of 10 pixels. By the way, this is the navbar on the side of the screen. And then we're going to give it 2 components. Which are going to be buttons. On click, we're going to set this current component to be component 1 or 2. Component 1 or 2. In fact, let me do this. Let's do text button component, and then button component. We go to this component. I think that's how it's spelled. Save it, and then after that, we're going to do AppShell dot main, so the main content of our app, which is going to be ternary operator. We'll do current component is equal to component 1, which is equal to component 1. Then we're just going to display component 1, which is this. In fact, you know what I just realized? We could just do this, and then we can just do it like that. Yes, I think that should be good. Let's give this a try. Save it, let's give it a try, see what we get. Can I resolve that because it's not found, which makes sense. So let's go back into here, let's close, let's get rid of these. There we go. Now let's go back into our app, save it, quirky tutorials. Whoa, where's that B coming from? There we go. So now we are going back and forth between, wait, button, text, 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 wait, text, button, but oh, we have it backwards, hang on. So instead of here, I'm just gonna do a little quirky maneuver. Just gonna be a little quirky with it. Just gonna quirk out. Move this bad boy here, put that bad boy there, save that bad boy up, and then we have text component, button component. Perfect. And then finally, we're just going to add our footer. So we'll do AppShell.footer, and then we'll just do built by you, the thickest of all coders. And then I want to just, let me see if I can get a few emojis going in here. Let's see here. So we got emojis. I know that there was this one where it was like a pregnant guy, I think. Oh god, that's hilarious. Copy this, and then move this to the side, and just paste it. Nope. Why can't I paste it? Copy character info? Is that how I do it? There we go. Ooh. And then copy this, just paste it a whole bunch of times. There we go. So now if I save it, we have our footer right there, which doesn't look the best. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna have to move this to the center a little bit. Actually, where's this S coming from? Let me check that out. Oh, it's coming from there. Let's see what we gotta fix here. Alright, so I figured out what the solution was, and I genuinely don't know why this was the solution, but you gotta add this margin top with this div class name app. I'm assuming it has something to do with the CSS file, but a bit too lazy to figure out why. So we save it, and then we can see our footer built by the thickest of all coders and the emoji. Perfect. And it's also going back and forth between links. If I collapse it, oh, that's no bueno. That's no bueno. We gotta fix that still. But we'll figure that out later. And then we can open this up like so. You know what we'll do is we'll just put this above here. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do for the solution. It's a little bit of a hacky solution, but instead of the footer, we're just going to give it a z index. So it's going to be a ternary operator that checks whether or not opened is true. So the use disclosure right here. If it's opened, then sorry, if it's not open, then we're going to give it a z index of 201. Remember that originally that the AppShell has a z index of 200, so we got to put that a little bit above it, at least for the navbar. And then if it is opened, or if it reaches that breaking point, then we set it as auto, save it, and now if we go back into it, we should see that we have the footer there, and then once everything collapses, we still have the footer here. But if I open up the navbar, we no longer have it there, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Alright, cool. So that concludes this tutorial. In the next one, we're going to be talking about setting up light mode, dark mode throughout our entire application, and then we're going to be learning about more components. So stay tuned for that one. See you all in the next one. Peace.